Welcome to the Huntalec channel demo. In this short demo of the content on this channel, you will experience happiness, fear, depression, anger, and satisfaction. This demo will now commence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Howdy!
We're talking about demos.
Yeah, I heard the fucking request, bitches.
Demos are something we've all swapped spit with, and it makes sense why. Without them, how could I find out that I didn't want freaky flyers?
Demos have always been less of a necessity and more of an inevitability. Their main purpose is to get people who want to buy the game more excited, whilst also convincing people who are unsure about it to buy the game. But in order to truly understand demos, we have to go back in time to the Dark Ages. The 90s.
Yeah, the 90s, home of Surge, weird clothes, an eyesore of commercials, and demos. Back then, demos were mainly distributed by shareware via floppy disks. It was a method of publishing for smaller developers. These demos would have one episode featuring the game's first full beginning section, and players could upgrade this demo to the full retail version if they so choose. This is how games like Doom or Wolfenstein 3D were published. Which means demos were only available on computers. Consoles didn't have demos at this time because... yeah, console games were on cartridges at this point, so making demos for them didn't make any sense. There were exceptions. The Sega CD could play, you guessed it, CDs, but are you really going to play a demo of Time Gal? So demos were exclusively on PC through floppy disks, and at one point started being downloadable through the internet. That is until this thing decided to begin existing, and demos on consoles were like... PS1 demo discs is where more traditional demos started to become a thing. These little guys were awesome back in the day. Having several little bite-sized games on one disc thanks to a subscription to a terrible magazine was such a great deal. These are nothing more than a novelty nowadays. Like most PS1 games, honestly. Though they're still really fun to poke through. They have this weird but charming presentation to them. It's not a simple little menu with game titles listed. They have these weird CGI cutscenes featuring random characters and graphics to give the demo disc that much more spunk. As for the demo discs themselves... so most of these demos are only a level long. That's not really so bad. They have pretty meaty levels, but there's just one glaring issue. They really seem to enjoy going, here's the tutorial, okay, bye. If the demo just gave you a brief lesson on how to play the game, then threw you into a level where you could just run around and have fun instead of trying to do one or the other and coming up short, then I don't think I'd be as much of a whiny little bitch about it. The Medieval 2 demo kinda gets this right. The tutorial is completely optional and the level given is great. I died because I am terrible at this game, but that doesn't really detract from the demo's overall quality. It's really good. There are some games that just shouldn't have a demo at all. Tekken 3 is one of these. One fight and you're done. Is there any point to this? Fighting games really speak for themselves. If you're buying a fighting game, you already know what you're getting yourself into, so a demo is just a waste of time.
During the 90s, Sony was the only company really leading the charge when it came down to demos on console. Giving out bite-sized games for basically free was something a company like Nintendo looked at and went, like that'll ever work. It did. Now, I don't think that demo discs were the main reason that the PlayStation did so well, but they definitely contributed, especially after Sony nabbed some killer exclusives like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, and having a bunch of imported games that never released in America and Net Eurose titles was a really nice touch. But as much as I would like to continue talking about these guys, there's another form of demos that I would like to touch upon that not a lot of people talk about.
Remember these? These little beefcakes are called kiosks. They're basically in-store demos. A store will put them on display, you walk up, pick out a game that's available, and play it for a little bit. Kiosks have been around for much longer than traditional demos, popping up as early as the second console generation. These things were massive, cool, and easily the best thing to see as a kid. You're at a store with your parents, bored out of your mind from buying groceries and not getting what you want, and then BAM! GameCube kiosk just waiting to be played. I loved seeing these clunky pieces of gaming goodness because they always had so many different games for me to try. A GameCube kiosk is where I first played Mario Party 6. Alone. Kiosks are so cool, and I'd love to have one someday. You can buy them for the low price of student loan debt, but even with the high asking price, it'd still be nice to have one. They're not nearly as fun as arcade cabinets, but having a giant Game Boy is definitely a conversation starter.
Yeah, people ask so many different questions like how, when, why, and are you sure you should be the one in control of your money?
Though not all kiosks are created equally. The NES kiosk is fucking boring. They really don't stick out that much. The big bold Nintendo logo on the front will grab your eyes, but the kiosk itself is pretty boring presentation-wise. The Super Nintendo kiosk is definitely an improvement. LED sign and a Super Nintendo themed box is all you need. I don't know why, but I thought the Genesis kiosk would be a lot better presentation-wise. They're mostly great for some reason, but at least they have a little Sonic graphic on the front. PS1 kiosks are interesting because they can go from this to what the hell? The only thing this PS1 Pepsi kiosk is missing is Pepsi Man. These Xbox kiosks are easily the best looking. Bright neon green with an Xbox logo right front and center back when Microsoft gave a shit. I think the GameCube kiosks are just as good. These things look proud to house Nintendo's best home console. The PS2 kiosk is definitely something, but I guess you don't really have to try when your console is the most successful in video game history.
I should probably get back on demo discs. PS2, anyone?
PS2 demo discs is where these things sort of started to decline. The presentation compared to the PS1 demo discs just aren't as fun at all, though you do get a lot more extras, so that does make up for the lacking presentation in my opinion. Although I am seeing an increase in sports games on these guys, and not the arcadey kind of sports games. Sports games! I just want to ask this. Why? I don't need a demo of a football game. It's fucking football. The rest of the demos are still the same song and dance as before. One level, go until you beat the game or you die, end card. Now in terms of GameCube demo discs available to the public, we have a whopping one! The Mario Kart Double Dash bonus disc! This little guy came with pre-orders of Mario Kart Double Dash and includes 5 demos of different games including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Why?
Sonic Heroes,
Okay.
Mario Party 5,
Mario Party 4 is better.
Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3,
Oh, that's actually a pretty good inclusion.
and F-Zero GX.
That's a discussion for another day.
These demos actually have some pretty good meat on their bones. Mario Party 5 gives you a couple of mini-games to fiddle around with, Sonic Heroes gives you 2 whole stages, Rogue Squadron 3 lets you relive this moment from the films for the 100th time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lets me know that I don't want to waste money buying Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and F-Zero GX is one race and that's it. Come on, Mario Party 5 gets more love here and not GX? At least include some levels from the story mode. You can have some bonus items and Fire Emblem on GBA, there's a couple of trailers, and that's the Mario Kart bonus disc. It's neat. Microsoft released some demo discs for the Xbox, and these guys have a lot packed into them. Way more than your average demo disc. Yeah, they were still the same old one level and you're done deal, but the quantity and variety on these little guys was fantastic. They even featured cheat codes for other games that weren't even included. That's awesome.
Now, with the advent of online gaming becoming more and more mainstream with the PS2 and Xbox, and then being improved upon with the 360 and PS3, demos would ascend from demo discs and start being downloadable on consoles.
Okay, demo disc didn't go away entirely. The Xbox 360 tried to keep the dream alive, and the Wii also had some demo discs too, but with the advent of online gaming services like the PlayStation Store offering a more convenient method of getting demos, it's pretty obvious why we don't see these little guys anymore. I never had a 360 growing up, so most of my demos came from the PS3 and Wii. The PS3's demos rocked. I remember when the Ghostbusters video game was uploaded onto the PlayStation Store, I played it over and over again because it was the closest thing I had to the full retail release. Being inside the same library from the original film and having it end with the Ghost Librarian was one of my favorite gaming moments as a kid. I had a Sonic the Fighters demo for some reason. I don't get me. The Doki Doki Universe demo was amazing, and nobody talks about this game, and I don't know why. But the one place where I easily downloaded demos and played them the most? On top of being a place where I gained interest in retro gaming, this little shop also housed plenty of demos for WiiWare games. I played dozens upon dozens of different demos for all sorts of WiiWare titles like Pokemon Rumble, World of Goo, Runner, Contra Rebirth, and Lollipop Chainsaw.
I did not like the last one that much.
The Wii Shop Channel really was one of the best online stores I've ever got to experience, and it's a shame that it's gone forever. Now we're up to more current stuff, and this is going to be a lot more interesting. I can't really say a whole lot about the Wii U demos. I only recently got this console, but I've had a PS4 for a while now, and I've had the Switch since its year of release, so I can say a lot of stuff about these consoles. One demo that really stuck out to me on the PS4 was the RE7 demo. mostly because it was completely different from the final game. Not in the gameplay department, that stayed the exact same. It was the characters you interacted with that were different. Instead of Ethan, you're a film crew investigating this spooky abandoned house that turns out to be a lot less spooky and abandoned and a lot more terrifying and murdery. It was a really well executed demo that got a lot of people hyped for RE7. Then there's the Switch, and oh my god, Nintendo's been killing it with demos lately. The Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Age of Calamity demos are so good. They start off with a small tutorial teaching you the controls, then turn you loose, allowing you to explore these big levels and get a feel for the game. They even let you keep a save file so that when you finally buy the game, you don't have to restart all this. You can just jump straight in with no delays. Little Nightmares 2. This was awesome. I haven't played the first game yet, but I really want to now after experiencing this fun little horror story. I won't spoil anything, just know that the game is well worth buying when it comes out. This is great. A Kirby fighting game. Once again, this is a great demo. 5 levels from the story mode and co-op play. That is really generous. The Adventures of Chris is a game I already knew I wanted, and this demo just made me want it even more. The sprite work, the music, the writing, and the level design are all masterclass. If you're on the fence about buying this game, play the demo, and I'm sure you'll immediately pick it up after.
Demos have really gone through a lot of changes over the years, initially being used by a bunch of smaller developers to get their name out there, to anybody under the sun using them, because it's just a nice gesture for the consumer, like, oh, you're on the fence about buying our game? Well, here's a little sampling of it. Do you want it now? Not all games need demos, like fighting games, sports games, and puzzle games, because at that point you have the fucking game. But some games could definitely use some demos to their advantage, especially wacky games like The Adventures of Chris. Having a demo to show the consumers exactly how this game will play will benefit it in the long run and possibly make it more successful. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this little demo of my content. After all, it makes perfect sense to have demos for YouTube content. It's not like you can watch all my videos in full for free on the platform.